There is no subject in civil services examination which is as dynamic, as diverse as geography is. And there is also no subject where the effect of asking questions, the effect of the multivariate aspects reflected in the way the questions are asked or reflected in the way the syllabus is framed is also as much as it is in geography. And also, there is no subject in civil services examination where the degree of contemporaneity, where the effect of the variables keep on changing as much as it is reflected once again in geography. And this is very, very visible in the way the syllabus is framed, the way the questions are asked as well. Now, even if there are certain topics in syllabus that may go on to look conventional, but geography has a potential to convert these aspects into something that is very, very dynamic. And as you'll go to see in the subsequent discussions, this is one aspect that is very, very, very much pervasive in geography. And that is what makes geography very interesting. It's a different matter that it may not have been dealt in the way that it should be dealt. Otherwise, if it is going to be dealt in the manner it is going to be dealt, it gives you so much amount of an idea, so much amount of insight, so much amount of everything that you can't imagine. You simply can't imagine the changes that it is responsible for bringing about in you. Any new change in sociology, political science will be similar type of a change that will be affecting in a geography, but in a much more diverse manner. The topic that is trends, trends in geography, trends in the way the questions are asked, trends in the way the syllabus is going to be, trends in the way a lot of things are happening is going to be all about it. Once you take a look at it, you will be, the first thing that you have to deal with it is that there are some of the topics in your syllabus which can be utilized in a variety of ways. The same topic is going to be a topic, but the same topic can be put to you in maybe 1,000 different ways. Of course, 1,000 is an exaggeration, but that is essentially to make you understand these aspects in this case. Now take a look at it. We are beginning with factors controlling landform development. That is how geomorphology begins. Now, meaning that how is it that geomorphology is going to be all about landforms? Now, understand it. Geographical geomorphology is very different from that of geological geomorphology. Geomorphology is studied in both of them, geography as well as geomorphology. As geography as well as in geology, rather. Now, the basic difference is in geology, it is going to be more about structure. It is going to be more about rocks. It is going to be more about what are the tectonic aspects that determine not only the landforms but also the dynamic activities associated with it. While in geography, it is going to be mostly about climate. It is mostly about descriptive aspect of it because a lot of technical aspects cannot be dealt with in a geomorphology. Neither is it that the geomorphologists, geographical geomorphologists are capable of it, nor is it that they go on to take a look at it. None of them. So, that is going to be one topic. This is going to be one of them. And the way the questions are going to be asked in this topic will go on to differ. For example, some time back, the question that would have been asked on this topic, landform development, would have been simple. That is like 83s and 90s, the question would have been something like only factors affecting landform development, nothing like that, nothing added to it at all. Now, the topic will be put to you in a manner that is going to be the landform development and it's controlled by maybe soil. Landform development or something like rocks. How is it that rocks control landform development? Or how is it that only slopes determine landform development? That is, the trend has changed. We're talking about the topic, but the way the questions are going to be asked. And can you imagine how is it that the questions are going to be asked in the future? So our discussion is centered around three things. First, how is it that the questions used to be asked? Second, how is it that the questions are asked now? And the third, how is it that the questions will be asked in the future? The topics remaining the same. So in future, the same topic will be asked to you in a very different manner. That is landform development and its factors affect urban planning as much as the evolution of different type of topographic features. Discuss. That means geomorphology in this case has been linked to something that is very, very different. That is another topic in your syllabus. Another topic that is going to be part of it. That's one. In a similar manner, endogenic and exogenic forces. That is, some time back, the question would have been asked about the types of endogenic forces. That is going to be only one of them, that is the types of endogenic forces. Now, the question that is going to be asked is that is earthquakes in relation to endogenic forces or volcanism in relation to endogenic forces. And in future, this question is going to be about that is endogenic forces have evolved more because of the mantle flowage rather than by anything else. Discuss that part. That means you have to be getting yourself abreast of certain things new, very, very new. In a similar manner, origin and evolution of the Earth's crust. Now, so far, not even a single question has been asked on this topic here. Despite the fact that the topic has been inserted in 1983, imagine. This is largely because you will be surprised to find that geographers are not equipped to ask a question on a topic that is as technical as this one. They may go on to ask in a peripheral form, only touching the topic, but not exactly in such a manner. So it's completely open. That's completely open. That is, the topic is going to be about Earth's crust. It is not about the evolution of the Earth. What geographers know is the hypothesis related to the origin of the Earth, not to Earth's crust. Now, Earth's crust means it's very, very specific. So, since no question has been asked, so we cannot go to decipher the trend. But then in future, it can be inhomogeneous accretion model is the only way that the crustal features and the crustal origin can be explained, discussed in relation to plate tectonics. That is going to be one of them. So the topics are going to be linked invariably with something or the other. In a similar manner, pick up fundamentals of geomagnetism. Now, this is a topic that is in news. No news largely because the geomagnetic poles happen to be shifting, and they are shifting from somewhere near to Alaska to somewhere near to Siberia. So that's a hot topic here. Now, in such type of form, questions have been asked. Of course, not related to geomagnetism, but paleomagnetism, and they have been by and large on the ground. Of course, the way that the questions can be asked with respect to geomagnetism will be that is the spatial and the temporal shifts in geomagnetism reflects the changes taking place inside the Earth's core. Explain how is it that these type of changes are taking place. This can be one way in which the question can be asked. And then physical conditions of the Earth's interior, everything about Earth's interior. It's a classic topic. It's a classic topic of geography, and geographers enjoy picking up such type of topic here. That is, and all of these type of questions that can be possibly asked, they are being asked. But now this question can be asked in a different form. That is, it can be like discuss the various types of discontinuities, can be one of them, how earthquake waves determine the interior of the Earth. But now the question that is going to be asked is, I mean, in the future, that is how free Earth oscillations are instrumental in getting to decipher the interior of the Earth. Free Earth oscillation. That is something that is going to be very, very new. But then that is what knowledge is going to be all about. And Incidentally, none of these things are available in any of these conventional books of maybe Savinder Singh, Khullar, or any one of them in general. That has been one of these. Now, some time back, you may have noticed that the question that was going to be asked on Earth movements would have been on classification. This is a classification. So now this question is going to be asked to you in the form that is a classify different type of Earth movements and explain the relationship between earthquakes and volcanism. Explain the relationship between earthquakes and a landslide. Explain the relationship between one or the other one of them as well. That's the way that the question can be asked. There is a, with respect to Earth's magnetic geomagnetism, that's what we are going to be talking about. That is the Earth's geographical pole does not coincide with the Earth's geomagnetic pole. Why exactly is it so? And what are the implications of it? Now, this is a new form in which the question can be asked to you. And or with respect to interior of the Earth, that is a discuss the basis on which the interior has been classified or can be classified. How is it that a mechanical layering of the interior of the Earth is an improvement over the chemical layering? Or how is it that the mechanical basis of classification of the interior of the Earth helps in a tectonic study much better than that of the chemical studies? And that can be one question that can be possibly asked to you. In a similar manner, you can go on to pick up some of these topics like that of isostasy and so on. And with respect to that, that is going to be similar. Now, geography is also one of those type of topics where not only is it that the trends of questions are going to be asked, but also the trend of the diagrams that are going to be drawn, that is also going to be asked. And it must go on to show in the way that diagrams are going to be framed as well. And we're going to talk about it when we come on to that part. At least it must go on to get itself reflected in answer writing there. Coming to the next set of topics, that is geosyncline, isostasy, continental dip, plate tectonics, and recent views on mountain building. Now they are one. If you have seen the cluster approach, how exactly and how smartly geography can be studied, then all of these topics must be studied at once because all of them are correlated to each other. There is no way that you can go to separate them out. So geosyncline is about uh, it's a old topic. Otherwise, the new name that is going to be used with respect to geosyncline is geocline. Geosyncline is no more used except in your syllabus in geomorphology. Anyhow, that's the way it is going to be. Isostasy is going to be another aspect associated with it. Then isostatic adjustments can be linked with something that is in climatology, that is going to be global warming. It can be global warming and the melting of the icebergs. It can be linked to that. So sometime back, the question used to be asked was discuss Pratt or Airy or compare and contrast Pratt and Airy. Now that the question is going to be asked to you is now in the future, that is a isostasy is invariably linked to global warming and the melting. Discuss the relationship between mantle fluids, isostasy, and the unloading of the icebergs with reference to Antarctic. The question may look a bit complicated, but then when you understand the topic, it goes on to make it very, very good for you. Then continental drift, it's a very, very old topic, very old topic. And some of these type of questions that have not been asked with respect to continental drift, otherwise, any type of a question you can imagine that has been asked in continental drift and the topic has got itself exhausted. That means no more questions can be asked. Now, whenever there is such type of a situation that no more a new topic can be asked, then a lot of changes can take place. And when we are talking about a lot of changes can take place, that means the new way in which the questions can be asked is that includes discuss the developments after continental drift and how is it that they were responsible for strengthening continental drift and led to the evolution of plate tectonics. That makes it analytical, and that has been there. After continental drift, it has been the work of Alex Dutoit, it has been S. Warren Carey, it has been paleomagnetism, PMS Blackett, it has been of Morgan, it has been of Vance, and variety of type of people, variety of type of researches that had taken place, and that got itself culminating in plate tectonics. And plate tectonics is going to be a topic in news. And why exactly so? Because a new study has talked about the variety of existence of microplates in the world. That is done by Australian University, and it is very, very recent, very, very recent. That is microplates. Now, when we know that there have been maybe 30 microplates, and now that we know that they are going to be something, some 50 microplates, then the question that can possibly be asked here is, how is it that the microplates are responsible for shaping the Earth's crust, and how is it that they are different from that of the major plates? Now, of course, that is going to be one type of a question that can possibly be asked, and it is a hot topic for being asked in 2022 mains examination, largely because it has been 2022 that the topic has been put on. And recent views in mountain building, that can be anything. Now, in most of the books, what you're going to find is not recent views, only views, only views. And the views have been 1859, 1857, 1890, 1777. You don't know all of these. Now, this is what exactly of course, books like Saving the Singh. And why we are talking about Saving the Singh is because that is a popular book, and it's not being critical. It's being giving you a perspective. That is, now onwards, this book may not be helpful to you at all in any manner possible. So that is going to be there, and that's a part of it. So when we are going to be talking about recent views on mountain building, it basically goes on to comprise of all of the type of viewpoints that is with respect to mantle flowways, that is with respect to the works of Miyashiro, who worked it in Japan. Now, if the geographers happen to know these topics, that is how they will go to ask. Otherwise, for conventional topic, there is no issue at all. There is absolutely no issue, and you are fully equipped to answer these type of questions. Now, these are some of these type of questions that have been asked in the past. For example, as you can go to take a look at it, relative role of a structure in carving out topographic features. Only structure. Now it can be, we have talked about this part. And the landforms that are the result of endogenic forces. Then just imagine, note on the origin evolution of the Earth's crust. Now this type of question is not going to be asked. Fundamentals of geomagnetism, also not going to be asked. And how seismic investigations can help, that is also not going to be asked. These are all simple topics which have seen their days, which have been a spent force of sorts in this case. So that has been there. Now, this was the diagram that we are talking about. That is, a lot of microplates have been there. Arabian plate happens to be one of the minor plate of sorts. But then there are many, many, many microplates. Like you're going to be having it here in this place. You're going to be having it in this place as well. So these are the microplates that are now going to be asked to you in this form. And we have already talked about that is the role of geosynclines in mountain building. That is now the question can be generally asked with respect to this topic will be not only the role of a geosyncline in this case. It can be how is it that a geosynclines form the first stage or the second stage or the third stage in the evolution of any type of a landform. That's the way the question may be asked to you in this case. Then compare and contrast Pratt and Airy theories. No way. These type of questions are a spent force right now, and because they have been already exhausted and the students will go to prepare it, these type of questions not going to be asked, and if it is that has to be asked, the syllabus will go to change. Critically evaluate the continental drift hypothesis. We have talked about how is it that the topics will be asked, the concept of plate tectonics and how plate tectonics explains the various features. Of course, that is going to be, it's a classical topic, but then we have talked about a lot of new things. That is the plate tectonics in relation to economic geology, plate tectonics in relation to something else, like plate tectonics in relation to applied structures like the construction of dams and so on. Now, this is how plate tectonics may be asked to you now onwards, and should be asked because all of these subjects are not getting complicated, but then they're expecting students to be much more aware than what they are. And recent concept on the origin of Himalayas, of course, in recent concept in this case is going to be talking about plate tectonics, not exactly something that is going to be very, very new of sorts in this case. Now, pick up these type of topics like volcanicity, that is volcanism, also earthquakes and tsunamis. Now, when it is given earthquakes and tsunamis, it doesn't mean that both of them are going to be correlated. Only one cause is associated with tsunami generation, that is earthquake. Tsunamis are generated by a variety of something, some 15, 16 reasons, and earthquakes happen to be one of them. Now, understand how is it that the question can be put to you here with respect to landscape development, demolition chronology, and channel morphology. Understand that part. With respect to volcanicity, the question may be put to you now. That is, sometime back it may have been it was endogenic volcanic features, or maybe exogenic volcanic features. Maybe that is a volcanic features in relation to plate tectonics, the causes of volcano in relation to plate tectonics. But now, the way that the question can be put to you in the future will be that is a volcanic activity and its relationship with the aviation industry. You'll find that is from where exactly it has come from. But then you require to know the application part of it. And then most of these things will be clear and clean to you. Then it is going to be earthquakes and tsunamis. Now, with respect to earthquakes, the reason is sometime back the question would have been discussed the elastic rebound theory of the origin of the earthquakes. Maybe later on, divide India into different type of earthquake zones and discuss its characteristics. Or maybe in another way, how is it that earthquakes are responsible for tsunamis? Now, this question can be associated with the generation of earthquakes and the evolution of the earthquakes has much more to do with mantle flowage, maybe with respect to the deep earthquakes, or maybe they will going to ask you about deep foci earthquakes, the mechanism of the origin of the deep foci earthquakes, or how is it that earthquakes are going to be generated only at the subduction zones? Because in subduction zone, there are going to be three different mechanisms for the generation of earthquakes. So this is something that can be asked to you here. With respect to tsunami, we do not going to expect that you will be asked about the prediction of the tsunami. That's largely because it's a topic of disaster management, not exactly geomorphology in the true sense of the term. But then that is part of it. With respect to tsunami, most of this is going to be affected by, is going to be asked you is in form of a hydrodynamic effect, then the hydrological effect, or maybe the landscape effect of the tsunamis. That's the way that the question is asked. But supposing that this topic would have been in general studies or in disaster management, the question would have been very, very different. That is, tsunamis are not only destructive of the coastal regions, tsunamis are also equally reinvigorating for the coastal ecology. Discuss how. That is the way that the question can be asked in this case. So that's a part of it. That is an example associated with it. So these are all endogenetic factors. Coming on to this part, concept of geomorphic cycles and landscape development. Now, this includes the views of Davies, Penck, and all. Geographers are hooked onto this topic. They enjoy picking up this topic. Supposing this is a topic that finds its way to universities and to university professors who know nothing but only geography, geography, and geography. That is the way that the question will be asked. No change will going to take place in that at all. But supposing that there is actually a reform in the UPSC, which is, of course, it is undergoing through, and so on. So, and this is a type of a reform that is actually undergoing through in this case. What do you understand thereafter? What do you understand is that is maybe they will going to ask you only one topic. That is a slope development in relation to geomorphic cycles. That is something that can be asked to you. But then this is a very, very conventional topic, and so is denudation chronology and channel morphology. Channel morphology can be related to the applied aspect. For example, there has been something associated with channel improvement, and that is called as avulsionization. That is a changing of the course of the river. So maybe that you are going to be asked about the applied aspect of avulsionization and channel morphology in this case, applied aspect of it. And that becomes very, very, very significant and very important as well in this case. Now, that's the way the question may be put to you. Avulsionization is something that has been very, very new. It has come up into 2022, and this is what makes this topic to be asked in an examination. It's a topic that is going to be associated with channel morphology and also with floods. That means it can be asked in both of these places. Now, with respect to volcanism, as you can understand it, this is all going to be endogenic factors. All of these diagrams are going to be there. Now, you will hardly go on to get an opportunity to draw such type of a diagram. This is largely because there will be no question, and generally this type of a question will be very, very feeble, very, very absent, where you are going to be talking about only the description of the topography. Maybe that will be talked about only one part, and that is going to be off. That is going to be associated with the conduit, that is going to be associated with the magma chamber. That is discuss the implications of hollowing out of the magma chamber and the topographic features that it leads to formation of. So that will, of course, go on to be completely different in this case. That's a part of it. Coming on to this aspect, that is the way that the questions have been asked in the past. That is features produced due to volcanic activity. A very, very simple one, but not the way that the question is going to be asked now. And volcanism in relation to plate tectonics, that's the way that the question has actually been asked. But then we are going to be talking about that. That is, it may have been something like some 5-6 years back. From future, the future of it, either going to be in the form of change in the syllabus, or it is going to be in the change in the nature of it. Now, all of these three are going to be very conventional topics. That is the model proposed by Penck, or the concept of altiplanation, or a note on denudation chronology. I mean, they are very, very simple topics, and these are the topics that doesn't going to pose too much amount of a problem for the candidate to try to answer them also. Come to this part, that is the last component of it. Erosion surfaces is of course going to be one of them. One of these erosion surfaces is going to be altiplanation. It is going to be prime barometer. It can go on to be gyplifler, a variety of them. That is a part of it. So any one of them, exhumed, for example, exhumed surface is going to be also one part of an erosion surface. So not too many questions have been asked, and the whole topic is going to be live in the sense that is a variety of type of questions can actually be asked from erosion surfaces. The topic has not got itself exhausted. So relax. This is a topic that goes on to become important. Slope development has been by and large exhausted. Now, there are two topics that have not been asked at all in general: economic geology and applied geomorphology. Now, understand it, economic geology is going to be all about the formation of minerals, the exploration of the minerals, the occurrence of the minerals, the finding, the survey of the minerals, and its extraction of the minerals. So anything associated with economic geology can be asked to you. And we say anything, that means either the formation of a mineral can be asked, or only all the minerals, or maybe a magmatic process can be asked, or the placer deposits can be asked. It goes on to give you enough amount of a scope to experiment, and so much amount of an experiment can actually take place with respect to that. So when we are going to be talking about economic geology, that is what it means. Economic geology, the last part of it will go on to mean about how is it that mineral resources are extracted when they are on the surface, and how is it that mineral resources are going to be extracted when they are below the surface. That is one of the ways in which the question can possibly be asked. And applied geomorphology can go on to be. Now, this is significant largely because some of the type of changes that have taken place you will understand it. These changes are going to be generally concerned with factors like that of Char Dham project, now which is actually a part of applied geomorphology. That is, find the application of the construction of the roads, and what are the considerations one must go on to take place while constructing these roads. Discuss it in relation to the Char Dham project. Now, the appendage has been added in the form of Char Dham project, and that is it. When we go to be talking about Char Dham project, then Char Dham project is always going to be a cynosure, largely because the road have been widened in this case, the road has been beautified of sorts in this case, and in regions like Himalayas where the slope instability is going to be very high, and also the instability has been made much more worse. There are a lot of factors that are going to be significant and important in this case. Of course, it is by the people who are gullible, people who can always going to come under anti-national forces. Like you're going to find a lot of buses and other things being burnt. Of course, no student is going to be doing this aspect at all. They will not going to indulge in certain type of an arson and other aspects. But then applied is always going to be applied in nature. It can be dam building, it can be road construction, it can be tunnel construction. So Atal tunnel has been made and that is going to be associated with the construction of it in this case. These are the type of questions that have been asked some time back. That is talking about it, the application of geomorphology to various engineering projects. That is a very simple one. We are talking about a specific one. That is how road widening and road construction in the hill is going to be determined by geomorphology or geomorphological considerations. That makes it a bit more specific of a sorts in this case. Now, not only is it that this paper, geomorphology, goes on to be helpful to you in your subject, but it is equally helpful to you in your general studies. For example, one of these topics in GS paper is going to be salient features of the world geography, physical geography. So, your volcanic activity, cyclone, change in critical geography features like water bodies and so on, and all of these type of effects. That means preparation of it gives you a quasi-justification to take geography as one of the options. And because you are always going to be picking up this topic for the purpose of your optional, you have a lot of advantage to gain when it comes to studying of your general studies and preparation of your general studies as well. We have been talking about the entire series of talks that had been, you're going to find in so many places these things have been referred to what extent is it that it is significant for general studies and to other topics.
To have more such discussions and analysis, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on our upcoming videos.